Okay, when you're ready.
This picture shows Easter Island, a forest that was virtually untouched until sailors arrived there in 1722. Quickly, the population reached over 9,000 people, putting an insurmountable amount of stress on the island's carrying capacity. Islanders found themselves using up resources on the island so rapidly they were soon left with none to support their lifestyles, resulting in the death for many of the inhabitants. This story may not seem important, but it serves a purpose. Although one single island is small in comparison to the rest of the world, it can be related to a much larger concept. It foreshadows what fate Earth might hold if it continues the same process of overpopulation and source depletion. Good afternoon. My name is Katie Stockner, and today I will be discussing population growth's correlation to our environment, which leads us to the question, how is population growth harming the environment and what can be done to stop it? However, determining solutions to this problem requires a greater understanding of what the actual problem is. Margaret Thatcher, former British Prime Minister, explores this in her speech to the United Nations General Assembly in 1989. Thatcher explains, "More than anything, our environment is threatened by the sheer numbers of people and animals and plants that go with it. When I was born, the world's population was some 2 billion people. My grandson today will grow up in a world of more than 6 billion people." Thatcher identifies this huge increase in population as the culprit for massive damage to our environment, and it is single-handedly responsible for things such as deforestation and pollution, which is working fast to essentially kill our planet Earth. In fact, this damage is so severe, according to the World Economic Forum, that recently deceased Stephen Hawking, former director of research for cosmology at the University of Cambridge, gave the Earth as short as 100 years left of survival if these trends persist. One factor that plays a large role in the destruction of our environment is the distribution of overpopulation throughout the world. The Australian Academy of Science, a Royal Charter organization, explains that over 80% of the world's population resides in underdeveloped countries. However, what makes this a problem is that a majority of these largely rural areas are beginning to urbanize by creating more city-like areas. Mark Montgomery, a population researcher, highlights just how major urbanization is currently in the world. He explains that by 2024, population globally is anticipated to grow by some 1.76 billion people. And with this growth, approximately 86% of it will occur in these developing countries. Humans migrating to urban areas continues to place a larger strain on Earth's resources. However, it is important to put into terms what exactly these negative effects are. As population continues to increase in these urban areas, humans are beginning to use an overwhelming amount of energy, leaving Earth's atmospheric health in a dangerous state. Consumption of energy at a rate this high is likely to have detrimental effects on the environment. For example, heat islands form as a result of increasing population in cities. Heat islands are areas that have a generally higher temperature and more atmospheric pollutants. Because of these cities being over their carrying capacity, they are 15 to 30% less likely to release heat produced back into the atmosphere, causing these atmospheric pollutants that lead to increased temperature, fog, and hailstorms, according to the Population Reference Bureau. The decreasing stability of weather patterns and quality raises concern for the future living conditions of everyone who resides on Earth. Another thing contributing to this declining atmospheric health is deforestation. These rapid increases of population result in deforestation because of increased need for agricultural sectors, homes, and resources constructed from wood and trees. Ross Blanc, a member of the Environment Sustainability Team, shows the vastness of this problem by describing the stark contrast between the forest of Europe in 900 AD and the forest now. The forest is almost unrecognizable with no forestry left. But this is not just in Europe, it is prevalent in all continents around the world. Deforestation is causing CO2 to be released into the atmosphere, which leads to these increasing temperatures and atmospheric pollutants that cause these unstable weather patterns. Aside from just air pollution, water pollution and its availability is another huge issue. Blank explains that as mass production of food is in more demand, things such as chemicals, fertilizers, and pesticides are used to speed up the process. This use of these chemicals causes dead zones, areas that no life exists in different bodies of water throughout the world. This poses a serious threat to the quality of Earth's water. Humans are beginning to suffer because of the lack of access to drinkable water, but this leaves many people at a loss with inability to obtain any water at all. The Population Institute emphasizes this issue by explaining the fact that Earth's current water sources cannot match population trends. With the estimate that the demand for water will surpass its availability by 56%, leaving 1.8 billion people living in regions of water scarcity by 2025. With all the negative effects to our environment, it shows the need for a change before Earth becomes inhabitable. So, what can be done about the world's decreasing environmental health? One solution is to raise awareness globally with campaigns that show people the impending doom that population growth brings. Along with this, family planning programs can be used to educate on sex and contraception. The RAND Corporation describes that in a survey conducted by the United Nations on women in developing countries, around 40% of them would like to limit or stop childbearing, but do not have the resources or education to do so. A large part of the solution is that it has already been proven successful, as explained by Mark Montgomery. He describes previous similar programs that have resulted in fertility rates declining by 1 child or 1 percentage point in city population growth. However, one implication of this solution is that many people believe it is too late for something as simple and menial as family planning programs and global awareness campaigns to make the difference that Earth needs to be saved. Another solution I explored is the idea of a multi-planet Earth. Although this seems unworldly, there's much more reality to it than many people realize. According to the World Economic Forum, Elon Musk, Tesla and SpaceX founder, intends to start colonizing humans on Mars as soon as 2023. This would provide a much-needed break in Earth's overwhelming population and create a more balanced Earth. However, one limitation is finding the resources to fund this, as well as finding those willing to leave their home planet. In conclusion, much like Easter Island, overpopulation of Earth will ultimately be the downfall of the environment if something is not done about it, and quickly. Thank you for your time.
All right. What evidence did you gather that you didn't use, and why did you choose not to use it?
So I had a slide that had a graph on it, but basically it was describing how the different experts on population research think that the carrying capacity, what the carrying capacity is for the Earth, I guess, and a lot of people agreed, that with current population and, the expected growth, that's our carrying capacity. And about 18 studies, I think it was 18 studies, believe that we could hold up to 1,024 billion people, which whenever I, further looked at the article, it was mostly because they were considering that Earth could hold that many people rather than sustain that many people. So I was going to use that because it definitely showed that, a majority of experts believe that it's, we can't sustain this many people for much longer, but I didn't have enough time, and I realized that my other sources and my other information was more impactful, so I used that instead.
What advice would you have for other researchers who consider this topic?
So I definitely would advise to maybe focus on a more specific effect on the environment. Although I think that I effectively covered, all the effects on the environment. You could definitely, if you went more into like deforestation or water pollution and its availability, you could talk more specifically about what this is doing to our environment, how this is affecting the people, their health, all those factors that play into that. So I definitely would, I guess, specify it a little bit more.
All right. Thank you.